Hi, it's Marie Fleming here, and welcome to my Sometimes Shit Happens video series. So today is video number 2, and I wanted to share something with you that happened, big thing that happened in my life that happened 16 years ago. So it was in 1999 when I was at college, and before I say this, actually, I'd say that in case you don't listen to the end, the point of this video is that sometimes shit happens, but it turns out okay. So I'm not saying that this was, complete shit. It wasn't in the moment, but it's not, in the end things work out. So I'm just putting that out there in case you watch it and 60 seconds in you turn it off and get the complete wrong idea. So in 1999 when I was at college, I was 18 and I wasn't feeling very well, so I went to the doctors. Had a checkup, had a couple of tests and things, and it was New Year's Eve, so I was a few hours away from going out to see my friends, and went to the doctors, came out, and I was devastated because it was then that the doctor told me that I was pregnant. So I was 18 at college, pregnant. It was the biggest shock that I have ever, probably to this day, that I've ever had. It wasn't something that was planned. I was in a really, really, truly terrible, difficult situation at the time, which I will talk about a little bit in some of the other videos. But it was a real shock, and I never imagined that it would happen to me. I was somebody that was, I suppose, considered to be quite academic at school. I was quite a well-behaved, don't know about now, but a well-behaved, good sort of teenager that was just kind of getting on with things. And yeah, it shocked everybody. So when it happened, so that night, I was freaking out, and I remember ringing my friend from a telephone box. There was no mobiles, and I rang my friend from red telephone box and told her what had happened. I was devastated. So I was 18, I met my friends from college that night. I celebrated New Year's Eve. That night I drank so much, I think, Bacardi and Coke, because I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't believe this had happened to me. Everything seemed to be over. I couldn't imagine what my life was going to be like. So the next day, sobered up, spent the next kind of couple of weeks thinking about my life, thinking about what the hell I would do. I was in a really tricky situation, and I decided that I'd go ahead with it. So I had my own personal reasons for going ahead with it, but I did. And I remember it was so difficult because not only was I young and I was dealing with a really massive thing in my life, I had a lot of people. I suppose they were coming from a good place, but they were really worried. They would tell me, think about what you're doing. You're going to ruin your life. My mum wasn't loving the idea, obviously, and I remember I had a very life-changing conversation in a pub. I wasn't drinking because I'd stopped drinking as soon as I decided that this is what I was going to do, and I had a conversation with a friend of a friend who sat me down. He didn't know me at all, and he just started lecturing me and saying, if you have a baby and you bring up a child at this age, you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to ruin that child's life. That child's not going to have a life. You're not going to be able to provide anything for it. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. So I remember listening, feeling really gutted that somebody was saying this to me, but there was some sort of fire that it sparked inside me. And maybe because I'm a pretty determined person, and there is a little bit of stubbornness in me sometimes, more so when I was 18, less so now at 35, but something like there was like a switch, and I really committed to that decision, and I thought, well, I'm not going to have people say that to me, and I'm not going to be defined by the fact that I'm pregnant and my life is over. So as hard as it was, I think in that moment what really helped me was that decision I made to say to myself and to the world that, I'm not going to stop going for what I want to do in my life. I'm going to have this baby. I know it's going to be difficult. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how financially I'm going to cope or emotionally or anything, but I decided that I'd do it. And I had big dreams. I had plans to be a solicitor. I always wanted to be one. As crazy as that might sound, as a teenager, I always wanted to be a solicitor. I wanted to go and study law. So I decided that I would not let that stop me, and I did. So I had my daughter that in the summer of '99, and yeah, actually, I said New Year's Eve '99, but it was actually New Year's Eve '98 when I found out I was pregnant. But I had my daughter the same summer as I picked up my A-level results, and it was tough. So one of the tough things, you know, was that all of my friends from college, they all went off and they went to university. You know, so I was left with in a really funny position. I was this young mum at home. I had this baby to look after. All my friends had gone off. They'd gone off to do their thing. We didn't have Facebook, you know, to connect. We didn't even have mobile phones at the time, so there was no kind of connection. And you know, they didn't do anything wrong, they were just living their lives, but I felt so alone and so frightened and so down, and I had a bit of a low period for a while, but I still carried on. But looking back from where I am now, that was one of the hardest things. I mean, talk about shitty. Finding out that you're pregnant when you're 18 years old on New Year's Eve is probably one of the shittier things that can happen to you. But saying that, you know, what's turned out to be really horrible, and, you know, I thought my life was over, has turned out to be the biggest blessing, you know. So 16 years later, I have my daughter today. She is fantastic, you know, we're so close. She's crazy and ridiculous and fills my heart with so much love. And I love being her mum. So, you know, it's not that I'm saying it was shit. It was shit at the time, but what starts out as being really difficult circumstances can so often turn into something amazing or wonderful. And even if it doesn't, you can learn so much about yourself. You can learn so much about what it is that you want and don't want in this life. So the point of this video and sharing this with you is, again, just to say that no matter what shit happens, no matter how difficult life feels for you, it doesn't have to let you know, it doesn't have to stop you doing what you want to do. You know, I still went for my dreams. I've since changed them, but you know, I still went to university, I studied, I passed, I became a solicitor, I did all this stuff. Crazy stuff happened along the way. You know, it wasn't easy. It was really difficult financially, emotionally, mentally, everything. But the point is that I did it. And it's not to say how wonderful I am, but it's just to show you that, you know, life will hit you with things sometimes that you don't know, that you can't predict. It's your choice. It's your choice to do with your life what you want to do. And it starts with a decision. So for me, it was the decision that, you know, I made, that I will not let being a single young mum determine my whole entire existence. Yes, I'm a mum, but there's so much more to me than that. And, you know, as much as I love my daughter, she's my whole world and everything. I love her with all my heart, but I'm not just a mum. There's other parts to me. There's so many different aspects to me. So it's just about making a decision, and, you know, don't let life knock you down and make you feel like you're stuck, because you're never stuck. And let me tell you, there were so many nights I had being alone, being down with no money, no social life, no friends, maybe one or two that were kind of off doing their thing, nothing to look forward to apart from this baby in my arms. And that was difficult, really, really difficult. And I've had a lot of challenges since then as well, but that's definitely up there as one of the hardest ones, but so rewarding. So don't let anyone tell you that you can't do anything. Don't tell yourself that you're, you know, stuck, or you can't change, or things won't get better, because things always get better. Whatever situation you're in, know that it's temporary. Life will always change, and you never know what's around the corner. Things always have a tendency to change. Even good things, you know, are temporary. Things will always evolve. So I just wanted to share that with you today in video number 2. So if you have any comments or you want to get in touch with me, I'd love to hear from you, to share anything that you want to share with me, or any feedback on this video. If you like it, it'd be nice to see you like it, but if not, that's fine. But yeah, so I will speak to you again very shortly in video number 3, where I'll be sharing with you some more shit that's happened, and some of the things I learned along the way. So until then, take care, and I'll talk to you in the next video.